Alright, what's Gucci, everybody? So today we're going to be reviewing Outcast from the Goat Man himself and from Dell. Great fucking montage. If you somehow haven't seen this already, go check it out. It's amazing. Let's just hop right into it. That's a little loud. I think the smoke right there is just a little bright. Also, um, but still, obviously really cool, really good effect. Yeah, I'm just hopping right into it. I'm critiquing the shit out of it. This color sucks. I've recorded this like 4 times, and sometimes it didn't have the audio, so I'm just sick of recording this. But it is a really good montage to watch, regardless. Really good music, good vibes. So one thing to note about this little title intro right here for Outcast, it's the same exact one in the outro. The smoke, how it comes out, everything, same exact thing. This is something I noticed watching that I just figured I'd point out. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's a it's just a tiny little bit lazy, but you know, it's not terrible. Really enjoy all the music in this video. I think one of my biggest issues with this video though is there's an insane amount of crossfades for transitions. Another one, a transition about to come up right here. It's like a little jarring. Like I'll play it and then I'll go back to it. So that right there. It's like a little weird to me. Like it's not that big of a deal, but it's like so obviously, that Spartan that's like running away ends up being the transition, right? But then when you have it go to a completely different Spartan who's, like it just like it feels a little jarring or weird when it goes to a completely different Spartan and Spartan inside the same scene as this one. This one just goes completely off screen. It's just, I don't know, to me it's like an interesting choice to choose for a transition right there. Um, but yeah, nothing too big. It was just a tiny bit jarring to me personally. And with the spiral right there, spiral could have been just a tiny bit cleaner. I mean, it doesn't stand out too much, but it does look like it doesn't really fit the screen too well. Mainly right here. Just kind of all the way through, it's kind of fine. But when it gets to like those really rough edges and it just kind of disappears, obviously this is mainly just, frame by frame analysis of this. You're not really going to notice this particular thing like that, but that definitely could have been done better. And right after that, not the biggest fan of this like flare lasting so long, and then it also goes behind the rock transition, so that's not too great in my opinion. I don't think it should have gone behind the rock. And this is like a really cool kind of transition and effect with the rock. And yeah, everything. The effect, everything. That all looks really cool, but it does look kind of wonky too. But, you know, sped up, it looks fine. Like I said, a big issue I have is a lot of the fades. So something right here I had an issue with was this whole transition sequence right here. So, you know, this, like, obviously, you know, it's just completely rough on the edges. It's like making kind of a mirror effect, almost. And it's supposed to look like it's like scrolling into that, but it just completely skips frames. It doesn't even show this side of it or anything transferring over. So I thought that was like interesting. It was kind of like it was almost like a smoke and mirrors transition in a sense because you probably wouldn't really notice that and sped up. So it did its job, but yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan. I think this looks pretty good, pretty cool. You know, very smooth. But then when I just have such a big gripe with like roughness or just edges on the screen when I watch videos. So I really don't like this. It really like takes me out of the moment. And then it also just kind of switches completely to frame right there. Like it just completely side scrolls, you know, to the next one. But yeah. That's my main complaint there. Not the biggest fan of that fade transition right there either. It looks, you know, it looks really cool, but to me it's also like he's doing everything he needs to do for, you know, this kind of transition and then he decides to fade it, which gives off that, you know, it's like a cool little looking like effect, but it feels like out of place to me personally. It does look a bit cooler though because he is in camo, but I do feel like it just wasn't needed because when you do it fast, it looks weirder for the most part because you just have a bunch of like lines and diamonds on your screen for a second. I thought that was like a fine transition right there. That was done really well. So here's something I really want to highlight that's coming up that way more editors need to be fucking doing. So notice how that effect stayed. It stayed with the rocket from when he fired it. Most editors are just going to put the effect on the rocket in the angle. They're not going to do it when it's actually fired. That's something way more editors need to be doing. However, you know, if we're gonna be if we're just gonna be a bit of a dick here, he could have went the extra mile, the extra mile, and put it on the rocket as you know it's being fired right there. Even though the rocket fucking like I don't know what's up with Reach's animations, why that happens. Looks funky, but also you know right there at the end it starts fading out. Definitely could have kept that on there. But yeah, that's definitely a big thing that I really appreciated that way more editors need to be doing. Because that's something that like kind of kills some effects for me in a lot of videos. Just being like, wait, why wasn't that just used right there? So right here, this cartoon transition, like I appreciate anything that's not just a straight fade, but it does look really weird right here. I mean, it kind of looks weird with like little everything, but then when, you know, the nades and everything go up, it's completely bright up here, but then it's completely gray and black and white right there. Doesn't look too great. And also, you know, that doesn't look great either. Yeah, transition definitely could have been done a lot better. Pretty solid. So there is actually a little problem here. You know, it's great. Another case in point later on of, you know, the effects staying. But you're gonna notice theater angle is completely different. Like it's out of place from the original angle. Right there. So that could have obviously been done better. Just you know, just a little bit. Would have been cool. Um, oops. Really like how the effect was still on the dead Spartan's body right there, and he had the sound effect for it. Like doing really well with the continuity right there. I appreciate that a lot. Like pretty much every other theater angle he does really well with that. It was mainly just that one with the electricity that he doesn't. So this transition is really fucking rough, as you can kind of tell. It's a really cool idea, and it's pretty innovative in my mind. But it looks really rough coming back to the screen right here, and then also when he scopes back in, the rest of the map pops up. The rest of the map that already faded out pops back up when he scopes back in. So it looks really weird. So if he kept it like this, and if he, you know, if he maybe just like kept it on the edges of the sniper scope, that would have been cool. But, you know, this midpoint getting to that looks really fucking weird, and it looks pretty bad when it comes back up, and it's all there again. So that definitely could have been better. It also, in my opinion, should have had way more time to fade because there's so much of this still on the screen before it fades out. So this is something that's really to note. It's like kind of a pet peeve of mine, but it does show so much like sleight of hand, if you want to call it that. So he gives you, you know, lens flares on these guys' heads, which I personally disagree with, considering neither of them end up getting headshotted. Kind of gives you hype for them, you know, possibly about to get sniped or headshotted, which sucks when that doesn't happen. And also because earlier on in the video, people got lens flared on the head for getting headshotted. So to me, that's just like a little bit of consistency that's lost. But right here, so this doesn't, you know, look as great, but he does flare the smoke. You have this edge, the ground, all to be looking at when you're coming in on this transition, as well as these. So you have multiple things to be looking at, so you don't actually see how this transitions so roughly, right? It looks very clean going fast pace. And yeah, that's like the smoke of the sniper shot, like being flared. So you have so many things to look at while this is transition is happening very fast, so it looks really clean. But, you know, it just kind of like fades and blurs into something that's not so clean. But it still looks really clean, fast pace. Just frame by frame, obviously a lot of things change. That was really, really good. But I'm still very annoyed that those guys didn't get headshotted. One got back smacked, the other got double body shot. It just hurts the soul. That's also another rough kind of fading transition, mainly because of the lights as well. I think it's mainly because it's like it turns into, it's like usually these theater angle transitions that you'll see in a lot of videos, but then it fades out and it just looks, really rough on the screen. It's not the biggest deal. It's not like that big of an issue. It doesn't look absolutely god awful. Only like a few, in my opinion, look god awful. Most of these don't, though. It's more like nitpicks. Alright, so this was an interesting choice for an effect. I mean, first of all, a big thing in this video is how bright a lot of things are. Like, I'm pretty fucking blinded in this in this clip. But so you see the triple kind of forming, right? And it's like negative and color based. Colors and everything kind of change as it goes, as it fades out. I don't like how it just fades out and it becomes a billion times bigger, like it's building and then it completely goes away and then it shoots out, a billion times bigger as the shot hits. Then, it gets as big as the screen and fades out. I think, I don't know, it makes sense because of the shot, but I think just a normal slow build would have worked better, or maybe just having the triple kill metal pop out as the shot happens and not have the build. I think one or the other would have been a better choice for this. Like the different use of transitions. So something right here, obviously notice color correction completely disappears as this shot happens when it goes to this effect. And, it warps the screen. This effect's like interesting. Like this little masking effect is interesting to me. And how the color correction leaves and then comes back like brighter than ever to it is interesting. It's not necessarily bad, but it's not the greatest thing ever. And then, obviously, right here, it just completely, the glow goes away. Yeah, I don't know, to me, it just looks a little weird. Doesn't strike me particularly the right way, doesn't particularly strike me the wrong way, it just feels a little off with those in particular. I love like such chill no scopes like that. I mean, even though it's Halo Reach, but still love them. Where it just feels like there's like no effort put into it and someone's just in your face. Something I also didn't notice till I was reviewing this video is that this is just like an entire game worth of like clutch ups or clips. So that rock transition would have looked really cool and clean. Than, anyone really watching it, but something you'll notice. Nope. Not not the greatest. Fast pace, it's fine. You can kind of see it fast. Yeah, fast pace. You can almost see it a little bit, but yeah, definitely could have done a little better there. We're coming up on some big issues, really big issues. That looks doesn't look terrible, right? Doesn't look terrible. Might be able to notice something that time. Let's just back it up. So as the shot's fired, the effect comes in. All right, cool. Ow. The fuck is on my screen? What's the difference between that and that? And then this gets worse. That looks horrendous. That's definitely like probably one of the biggest issues in the video. Obviously, it's not too bad outside of frame by frame, but you can still notice it if you're not going frame by frame. Um, yeah. That was a really clean fade right there. I like that one. I really like this use of the effect with Tech9's like breathing. But a big issue with this section with Tech9's rapping, it does feel like the flow is pretty on point with the gameplay. But I think I don't know who the other rapper is on this track that comes up next after Tech9. I feel like his rapping was way more catered to with the flow of the gameplay and the flow of his rapping. Like how fast paced he was, like how fast he was rapping really felt like the gameplay was doing that justice. Whereas this feels like it kind of goes back and forth from like slow to fast to regular speed, and it feels really wonky and off. Even though Tech9's flow is kind of similar to that, it's still much faster than what's being displayed here in a lot of these clips. See? This part does a much better job of it. But still, a lot of the slow-mo parts just kind of kill it. Oh yeah, one thing about that Overkill 3D metal. It looks a little out of place. Like the colors on it seem dulled, which is good. Because obviously, reaching all this gray background over here. But it does look a little out of place. I think the reflection is a big part of that. The little shine and reflection is, I think, a big part of it looking out of place. But also, colors, it extruding. I think, like, I appreciate 3D whenever I see it, but I do think this could have been done or used better. Um, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. More fades. Nice transition there. But yeah, like a lot of the gameplay just feels faster paced with this rapping. Now, it is more intense, but a lot of these DMR fights fitted so much better. But his flow is also faster than Tech9's. Tech9's was more chaotic. Here's one little issue. How? So, yeah, that could have made sure that didn't happen. That would have been cool. I think that happens. That definitely happens somewhere else in the video. I think there was like rockets or nades through Ring 2 of Sank, and he was like on the other side of it, and it happens again. Actually, I think it might happen, like, yeah, somewhere around there. So this, I'm not even showing it full speed. I'll show it full speed. You can tell something is off right there. You can literally see it. But, yeah, that isn't great. Also, you know, the screen gets really bright right here because I'm assuming the nade in ring 2 right there that he threw. So that also doesn't help, but, yeah, there's no build up to this effect whatsoever. It looks really fucking out of wonk and pretty fucking bad. There's like multiple effects going on here. Um, and it's also, you know, there's 2 frames of that. Literally 2 frames of this. Um, but yeah, that's pretty bad. Especially with no build up to it, it looks really wonky even in fast pace, as you could tell earlier. So I wanted to note this real quick. If I can get back to it. Did I just skip ahead? I retarded. Oh my god, I totally did. Just cancel me now. So this is something that I thought was an interesting take. I think he probably could have masked this melee for the transition, but he chose not to, and it almost looks like he did still. Which reminds me of JTD's Taj, where I reviewed it. It was for Reach, and he did a masking melee transition. So one thing to note about Reach's animations are fucking weird. They're very short, and a lot of them just they feel like they're extremely short. So trying to edit to them is just very it's off. It's completely off. Um, so I do like that he just transferred into an angle or transferred into a scene of the melee happening and then going into gameplay because it doesn't look as off. But if you look at JTD's Taj color thought for Hambone and the review I did of it, you'll notice that like the transition he did for it looks really bad, mainly because look at how fast this gun, like how fast his arm completely disappears from the screen. Like that can make a lot of transitions if you use it off of the melee. Pretty weird and bad. So I do like Hastings' use of it here, where he didn't necessarily do that, but it looks like he did that. So that's something to look out for Reach editors, and just a lot of animations in this game. Um, yeah, just wanted to point that out. So yeah, that's pretty good. Much better than that one that I went over. The only issue is right there. And you know, the screen is completely poop. You know, I feel like more build-up should happen to that. Just a little bit, but yeah, I mean, that's really just a nitpick. Wait. I like the screen shake there too. But I'm pretty sure that's about it for the video. I don't remember anything else being particularly problematic. I mean, I thought this. I mean, this is a sick ender clip. I don't know how he still got the exterm. I don't know how he still got the exterm there, but whatever. Yeah, great Taj, absolutely fantastic Taj. Just wanted to showcase the whole intro outro thing. But yeah, pretty much the same exact clip, literally just cut and then put at the end there. Not really a problem. I just, I think it could have done without it. It's cool though. But yeah, go check out this Taj, this amazing Taj Reno. All right, peace, guys.